Hello world, welcome to another edition of Enough Talk, the O5R video podcast. My name is Jesse, the man who cannot stay in one place too long, Grabowski, and I am joined by my very good friend, who is the North American record holder for the difference between the number of oranges purchased and the number of oranges eaten, Paul
Yeah,
Ashman.
it's true. It's true. It was a hard achievement, but you just got to stick to your routines and make sure that every couple of days you're going to the grocery store and you're picking up your potato chips and your potato chip dip and your candy bars. And then while you're there, you're saying, "Hey, I should eat healthy. Let's pick up some oranges." You got to stick with it.
You really not in the face of now. Most people, for most people, the difference between the number of oranges they buy and the number of oranges they eat is zero. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. Every once in a while, one spoils, you don't eat it. But you're pushing two, three, 4,000. You're really rocking it.
It's become part of who I am. I wear orange hats. I have orange shirts. I get oranges in my glasses of water at restaurants, which I then do not drink because I'm getting a soda. That's just it. It's good to have a little bit of personality. It's good to have some identity in the mix.
Now, when you said you go to the grocery store, are we talking the grocery store or are we talking the 7-Eleven?
The old market, you know it, right off Grand River there.
Yeah.
Which is it's an actual grocery store. It's not like a Kroger, Meyer, Giganta, Superplex grocery store, but it's an actual. I mean, it qualifies as a grocery store. It does. It was recently renovated, so you have not seen this. They've expanded their beer aisle into three full aisles.
All
They've
right.
got like artisanal beer. It's like there's an aisle of just IPAs now, which I think is this really nice acknowledgement of like we're making money off the college kids buying the beer. Let's try to be the beer grocery store.
They know their
And
I was
there's
gonna make
something.
the joke. College students love
Yeah, no,
alcohol.
no, it's a sort of charming acknowledgement. What's great about it though is it's a grocery store that no one can walk to. Like it's not, it's it's not far from campus, but it's removed enough from Like what dormitory can hike up there, right? Like I guess the like Acres and Brody and McDonald, all the places I was at, like there's no way you're making that walk or take. Yeah, so there's a bus thing. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know how I feel about that particular thing, but whatever. It's working for him.
Buses in America. That's a good intro topic maybe for another video. We can
Well,
laugh
I mean,
about
we
public
we we
transportation.
bust around the East Lansing some amount, right? Like what you took the Meridian Line bus to the mall a couple of times, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But in general,
When you when you were a freshman, did you get the weird bus tour?
no, I never
Like
got the
the
weird
late
bus
night bus
tour.
tour, did you do that? That was a thing that we did my freshman year. Like no, they didn't have this like organized like mixer bus tour to all these shop places.
And they may have had it. I didn't go on it.
You skipped it. I also got on it, got off at the first stop because I said, "Well, I'm not doing this shit." It
Well,
was
this
really
is
interesting.
weird. I'm out of here. There was a
Yeah,
lot of
it was like my first time on a bus with a bunch of people, and I was just like, "Nope."
right as a downtown Detroiter. So when you were born in Detroit, they didn't have things like the Woodward Line, these glorious new public transportation innovations.
The M1 rail line, the take the streetcar to the people mover, and then just wish you had driven your car plan. Yeah, that's really taken off, man.
So for those of you not in the know, Detroit is a laughing
Yeah, this
stock.
got pretty esoteric pretty quick. We went from like our specific alma mater discussion of buses to like one city. It's
All right, so
we're really
everybody
we're
can
really
skip
preaching to a broad audience of like four other people.
everybody can skip the first 5 minutes of this video. Let's just on that note, whiplash.
We will,
So
we will call this we will call this like the bus edition.
well, the
It's
buses.
good.
We'll
I have a
revisit the buses.
I got a whole nother 5 minutes. We've got the Snyder versus Mark Schauer gubernatorial election in which the issue of public transportation is playing a critical role. Man, I'm not done.
I'm gonna cut this short. I got all
It's
kinds of bus commentary, public transportation. I
I
could
do
talk
too.
about Detroit. I can make fun of Detroit for a whole episode. I don't need play. What is this? What are these cards? What are these
It's
children's
pretty
cards with
low.
art? Get this out of here.
It's pretty low. It's pretty low hanging fruit. But was it, so Maddie had a really great comment. So she managed to like raise her head and formulate a thought and articulate it. I mean, it took, 9 minutes to get it out there. But the gist of the idea was that Detroit has been in the process of coming back for about 20 years now. And it seems public transportation is always referenced in that speech, but then no one ever wants to pay for it.
I mean, Detroit is the Brazil of America. Its ascendancy is always just around the corner, man.
It's a,
All right, so we're back to Ark today.
okay.
We've been away
It's
from Ark for a
a,
little while. We dipped our toes into some Legacy. We've been exploring Strict a lot, but I wanted to play some Ark. We don't play enough Ark. Ark is still where my heart is. I think the format's great. Everybody
Speak
disagrees
for
with me,
yourself,
but
China boy. If you played some L5R in real time with real, actual live people, you'd play a ton of Arc. I play Arc like crazy, and I still prefer Arc to Strict because I like cards that do powerful things.
I
But
don't
yeah,
leave my house. And
that's it.
you're a bigot for
Who can
suggesting
it
that I ought
be
to.
now? That's right.
Anyway, so we're play some Ark. We haven't done an Ark video in a while. Paul's loophole man notwithstanding. So we just had this big World Championship event over in Europe, so we decided, hey, let's boot up the World Champion winning deck. It is a Unicorn Shugenja deck, running the Sensei and a Fear package, which is pretty cool. It's a sort of it's a different way to attack the format, and Okura's release is a powerful effect. It's a fate card that's pretty much going to kill a guy no matter what, and you've got a lot of little interactions that let you beat the attachment protection. He's playing Tested Blade to punch through followers as like a total getcha kind of play, combined with some new cards, Guidance of War and Stones of Purity, which both generate force extremely quickly. If you've never played with or against these cards before, you'd be surprised by how much work they do. And then the other thing is in the new set, Unicorn just got the last couple guys it needed to bring the Shugenja deck together. And I know, Paul, this was a deck you had played around a little bit with. This build's a bit
Yep.
spicier than what you were looking at, but it's got all the basic pieces: some negation, the cheap, the Shug package, a little bit of fear, powerful spells, and cavalry trait.
Yep, I think that, when you look at a deck that wins, some people have a tendency to be a bit dismissive, or they like to just be like, oh, Unicorn won Worlds, that's not a surprise at all. They've got a 5 gold stronghold, and that's really good, and etc. etc. The construction, the construction of this deck, I think, was sort of specific. You can see the refinement. The Ivory Courtroom points, I think, to, these are cards that each card was put in with a purpose, with a gameplay, with the situation in mind. And I think it is holistically a very good deck. I'm not at all surprised that it won because it has battle effects that can cause attrition. You can do some like jabby defenses, but Stones of Purity is also this great force. I mean, it's the most force efficient attachment you can do. Like throw it on a Moto Mingwok, 5 force for 5 gold is as good a rate as you're gonna get off a single card. Um, and 3 Ichi Watu is an unusual thing, but he's saying like I want to get to these specific cards. I like it. I think it's a good deck, and I think congratulations to the winner whose name I knew, but now I cannot remember.
I think L5R players sometimes are a little too dismissive of deck construction, the importance of deck construction when they're looking at the winners of an event. The Ivory Courtrooms in specific, combined with the Haramotos, give it a really good Dishonor matchup. This was something that you were
Yep.
highlighting before we started recording.
Any defensive deck, even honor decks, rely on some level of favor usage in concert with like progressives and blocks, and the stronghold moves you back in. So yeah, I mean it's got resiliency, it's got consistency, and it's got a couple of haymakers in there, and I think that that's where you want to be in Arc. It's not the fastest deck, but it has draws that let it be very aggressive on its turn 3 attack. I mean, it's not built just to do that, but it can easily do that which is another added element to the deck. And so, you know, it can come out fast and aggressive in Sleeves provinces. It can jib and jab with some battles. It can do some defensive stands to try to win that way. I mean, there's a lot going on in that deck, and I think it's very well constructed, and I think people need to do a better job of sort of seeing a deck and looking at it and trying to say, okay, why is this working, and not just say, oh, he got lucky, which is definitely something that L5R players seem to do at a higher frequency than is appropriate.
I also want to shout out this card, Hidden Machinations, is a card I quite like from the new set. Combined with the Ivory Courtroom, it lets you blow out honor decks here and there by stealing the favor as the last action before you go to battle.
Yep.
And it also gives you a bit of fate selection, which the deck needs because there's not a ton of card draw effects. You've got one destined guy, but otherwise you're just ripping off the top every turn. And this does have a number of one-offs in the deck, so Hidden Machinations is sort of a way for it to draw through to those.
Yep. And so I think Ichi Choea is another card that has a lot of flexibility. So I mean, I think it's got the things you want in a winning L5R deck. First off, it's a military deck. I don't want to say military decks are better than honor decks, but they tend to be the best military decks tend to be better than the best honor decks.
Well, they're certainly better at
Uh,
running a gauntlet.
yeah.
More resilient to hate,
Getting
maybe.
through broad just getting through broad multiple rounds, right? Because they win the game in a much more oppressive way. They're much more like, I'm taking your provinces, I'm reducing the options you have, and then I'm sealing it up. And it's got a high power level within its cards, but it also has strategic flexibility, which is an important aspect for me. I like the deck a lot. I think it's a good deck.
Rock on. What are you kicking?
This is this is an oldie but a goodie. This is a Akage Sensei Crane, and I want to say it's just Case's deck from Gencon, which was pre-aligned in the sand with just a few updates. I think I swapped the one reserve guy for the one resilient guy, and that's pretty much it. There should maybe be Lonely Dojos in the holding. So we've seen these decks before. You start with your powerful scouts, Ujiraru, Tamataka, and then Zenthar, who's one of my favorite characters, and then Gensei, of course. And then you season it with other powerful Crane personalities in Kinta and Soka. And then just the final level are your uniques in the two unique Naga, Mitsu, and then Tamataka experience. And this is a personality base that is a very solid Crane personality base. And Line in the Sand's time as the latest set is slowly coming to an end. We're going to see new order cards in like 10 days or so, and we're looking forward to it a lot. But I also acknowledge that the Crane military base in ARC probably won't change that much. It's going to be very hard to crack into this lineup. Really, this slot here, which you want to be a cheap guy, and maybe Kinta if the value of ranged 4 attacks starts to diminish. But, Tamataka, Soka, Ujiru, the uniques, these are all just really good value cards, and that's what's made Crane military good since the start of Ivory. And then obviously Akage Sensei, the Stronghold. It has a similar approach to your Unicorn deck in that it's generating guys and it's attacking, but there's a lot of little value plays you could make over the course of the game to swing tempo your way. And I don't have a ton to say about it because if you haven't played against Crane Scouts yet, you just haven't been playing a lot of L5R because it's such a good deck. There pretty much has to be one in your gauntlet or in your play group. Obviously, the case type builds always have some variation, but in this case, I think most of that's happening on the Fate. It's a little light on your family dojo count, but other than that, I don't know what to really comment on in Dynasty wise. So moving to the Fate, we have the Recursive Follower package, which Frontier Farmer lost some of its verve when we lost Well Defended Farm, but in this case, it's all about accruing the incremental advantages. This is, I think, a concept that is very important in Ivory. It's all about trying to get those little edges, and these are two cards that let you just sort of keep generating force from your Fate hand over the course of the game, which is important. Move the troops system. Inspired Leadership is to copy your various powerful abilities. You don't have Tacticians, so if you want the follow-up, you have to actually pay gold, say levy. And then some straighten effects, Deliberations, Coward. Holding Cells is a card. I think it's worth pointing out that very few people play Holding Cells, and yet it was featured in the Gencon winning deck, and I think the second place Spider deck.
Yeah.
It's a really good card. Same with Inspired Leadership, another card that I don't think is getting the amount of play that it should. Right, like if the same couple of cards are showing up in the finals of events, they should probably be paid attention to. Sudden Movement, New Calf Tax, Unholy Strikes. These are, they do what they do. Some melee attacks, some fair effects, some send home. Thoughtless Sacrifice is a surprise. People, this is something I'm one of the posts I wrote about is like play cards with good payoffs, and Thoughtless Sacrifice can have a great payoff, right? Like if you Soka her up to 4/4s and Thoughtless Sacrifice for 7 and destroy a card with an attachment or something like that. You can really get a big value swing that way. And then just a couple of terrain answers, Turtle Shell. Some fun offs, as we say in the biz. And you look at it and there's no card in here that's not effective at something that's not. There's no card that you're unhappy to draw, I think, most of the time. And that's a good deck.
For sure. And Holding Cells specifically as a card, I think, was pushed to the side because of gold costs on the action, but it's a really unique effect and one that's gaining more and more stock as people are starting to play more battle straight and big guy type decks.
Right. So I think there was a period where I had a couple of sort of bow a bunch of stuff, bow all the things kind of decks. And they were good. They tried to sort of overload the amount of straight that people had, but that's really tough to do now. I see why people don't like it. It's got a lot of things that you look at it and you say, well, that's not the sort of card I'm in the market for. A gold cost action with an honor loss. It feels like it would be a hard card to play. Now, obviously, it's not. I mean, offensively, when you attack, you're going to probably have some gold up. But it does become harder to play on the defense, and maybe some people want to use that as a reason to not play it. I really like both the Holding Cells and I like Persuasive Tactics. I like cards that are just like, do the effect. And if that costs me gold, I'm Crane. I should have some.
Sweet. Let's shuffle up. I will say, I have a future article planned about how the value of defending has been going down precipitously since Ivory started. This really is.
There's always been schools of thought of sort of never defend, always attack, if that's the sort of deck you're in. I go back and forth. It really depends for me on the number, on what the card pool is. Samurai Edition, which is an edition you didn't spend a lot of time in, had a card called Desperate Mediation that you could look up, but it's if you had exactly one. It was like a sort of an overwhelmed remake, but you could only play it if you had one guy. And I played it all the time in my offensive military decks, and I was always very happy with it. So it's really just what the card pool allows you to do. I think right now battles involve so many things that it's hard to have a good defense in a military deck because you're just sort of outclassed.
I will say, though, that defending and playing and overwhelmed is not what I'm talking about. What I mean, defense is undervalued.
Okay, fair enough.
Or devalued. I don't mean that people should be defending more.
I don't, I don't want to, tip the awesome upcoming article, so I look forward to reading that. Okay, so, we got a Nexus with a Productive. We're going to try to do some double gold stuff. I don't know the composition of my holdings well enough to know if I should have sat on a 4 gold guy, but I'll assume I shouldn't have.
I'm going to start with Dark Audience, because it's a freebie.
It's like a shot in the dark, baby.
What do I want here?
A lot of options on your attachments.
Yep.
I guess you have to think about sort of turn 3. What's the sort of cards you're not doing anything this turn. Maybe next turn. It gives you the option to try to set up for a turn 2 thing. I do have a delightfully low province strength.
For sure.
The
I
bat
have this
the bat
card. I'm not planning on playing it, which is why it just popped right away. I'm thinking one of these. Because I have this and this already. So I just want. I'll just pick some cards. How about one of these?
When in doubt, randomly select something.
Well, I just.
So we have Guidance and Wars being presented to me.
And these feel like the two most powerful cards, so I'll present these two.
They're two very good cards. Now my instinct is to force him to remove Stones of Purity because it's the card that most annoys me. It's a lot. It lets him make one big unit and it gives him some fear effects. It's a repeatable thing. But the flexibility of Guidance and War is really a concern here because Conquer can disrupt my math a little bit. And also, it's such a flexible card right now. And early on, I want to try to put him into a box. I want to keep him in a more strategically rated situation if I can, and that'll allow me to sort of control the terms of engagement. So I'm gonna remove Guidance and War,
Okay.
leaving him Stones, which is a good card, but it's a card I know about, and it's a card that I'll be able to keep in mind in terms of attacks and defense.
Okay. And now we have two
And you
flips.
killed your Watu.
Yep.
Yep.
And we're just gonna go again. We may leave Mingwalk. He's probably the best personality in our deck. He carries stones better than anybody else.
He's got stone carrying abilities, it's true.
And
Well, this seems like a really solid start here.
And so I'll take the favor here as well. And pass to you.
Okay, well, I flipped 2 4/4s, and they're not good, but they're not bad. I guess they are pretty good. They're not amazing. I would have preferred, a marketplace to go with my bookkeeper and Deep Harbor, but take what you can get and keep on keeping on. Flush some holdings because it's time to start getting personalities onto the field. We have to actually be concerned of him going. Yeah, you had 10 gold. You did not keep so he had the option of keeping a 1 gold cost holding and just like going all in on a Moto Mingwalk with a 1-for-1, but he flushed. So we'll see what happens here on his turn too. He might be going for a TC province on us.
We'll see. The deck runs a fair number. It's like this is not bad gold development.
So Choweo with a stables and an invested temple?
Yeah, it would be 9 as well. Or I can just buy Mingwalk.
So he's put to that decision point of development versus offensive threat.
I think because we have this and we have cavalry, there's a danger that he flips his cavalry guy and kind of gets us. But if he doesn't, then we can take an easy province, just a chintzy province, and feel really good about ourselves. So I'm going to move in on the aggressive. I'm going to flush Chowea but keep the gold to set up for attach my stones and then buy some gold on the next turn. And that should get us...
Which is a play that we can properly predict. I don't know if we can effectively play right now. We did flip,
so yeah, he did flip
cavalry
guy.
That's helps. So we've got 4, 8, 12, 16. But there's not a lot of... So I can get my 2 cavalry guys. Yeah, I think it might be... The other option is Tamataka plus Soka, which allows for counterattack. So if I buy my 2 guys... and then he chooses to not put the thing down and attack into me, that could be a less than good position. So I think I like a Gensei with a Tamataka, and then sort of see where we go from there. He's gonna have a shoot me in the face, as he has a dead issue want to. Um, we have a number of playable fate cards. This would be a very good card if we could get it to resolve. This card has obvious value to line up against. And this has an application for defense as a move-in effect. And then obviously that's not going to do a lot for me with his stronghold, but maybe he's going to bow his stronghold. And then these cards could also work off of our personality here. So there's a couple we have to. The other thought is if I buy Soka, it negates his ability to generate force off of just the spell. He would need a fall. Yeah, so I think I just go with. I think we just keep it safe and simple and spend our gold to buy our two personalities here and see what comes.
Okay.
I like this line the most. First off, like Soka can stop or make it difficult for him to just slow down the stone. So we're sort of seeing if he has a backup plan. But also, it'll allow me on my turn to generate force to get in there for our province, and that's where you want to be.
So the first thing I'm going to do is discard the favor and a card to cycle. I should mark my honor appropriately, but I'm only at 4.
I'm at what? I'm at 9. Yeah. Oftentimes we forget to do this because that's just how we are.
We're going to pitch the Cohen's robes here.
So I have to just pass because we know he has the spell, so we can't go doing any sneaky Soka stuff.
So we're looking at our ways to get. We're looking to see if there's ways we can get our force up. Like this card is Soka proof. It gets us to 6. But we still need one more. We can't attach both this and this, which would get us there. So I can throw it on the stones and make him do it. But doesn't really get me anything. Because...
And this is an excellent example of why you have this non-scout, non-samurai Soka in the deck. She's just a good personality. It's a powerful open. It can disrupt items. It can disrupt spells. And if nothing else, she's 4/4 for 7, which is perfectly fine for a military personality.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Originally from, I think, like Lotus Edition, so not a shock that she's pretty good.
Attach this and this. No, so there's no way to get there. Anything that we do, he's gonna soak us down. So now I have to decide if I want to pay gold to put up Mingwalk anyway, or if I just want to drop. And I think I'm just gonna drop here, and I really want to buy gold because I skipped one turn of gold to get the guy. I can buy Watu, but I'd be doing just Watu. And I kind of already paid the price for going in on that, so I gotta tap the brakes here and buy some stuff. It's not gold efficient. We're only paying 7 for all of our stuff. But those are the brakes. So we'll tap like this, bot like this. I apologize.
Okay, so we flipped to Kenta and now I kept both Gensei thinking that they're these cavalry guys with a solid ability, but looking back on it, I wish I had flushed one. I think that was a mistake. I clogged my provinces And now it's going to be tougher for me to
Sorry, I'm
get
still on
appropriate
Discord here.
value.
I'm
That's
agonizing.
fine. I'm just thinking, and that was just bad fundamental plan on my part. You got to keep your provinces moving. You have more copies of personalities, and when he only has one guy, any guys get me there. So that was a mistake, but it's a mistake I can recover from.
I know that card's
So
really good, but I want to try out this card, so that's why I threw it.
okay, so I am going to pass my. I'm not going to pass my. I'm going to use my Soka to generate force because I need to get to a little bit more. He does have only 7 province strength because of Akukaze Sensei, so now I have 8 force, which is enough to threaten a province, which is where I want to be.
So I'm going to attach the stones using my temple here.
You had a different unbought holding as well?
I had the Jade PI, so the 3 I bought was only
Okay,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So box, Ivory Courtroom covered it.
I'm with you. So at the moment, his 2 battle abilities, Fear 3, Range 3, are not effective against our 2 4 force personalities. So I pass. We
I
still
also,
have the ability to clear an attack. So he's up on us by 1 force, but we have a Tabataka. We can go in pretty painlessly here. So both at a province. I will use my targeting arrow there.
so the Akikazu Sensei does make a rare Fear 4. I don't know if that changes anything about what you want to do.
I do not think it changes anything about what I want to do. I did forget about it. That's true. I forgot that he had the Dead Water, which is another reason his deck is playing 3 copies to make sure he can sort of get that Fear 4 up and running. But
You're also.
I'm still okay getting in there.
I have one more attachment before you attack there, too. You're rushing me a bit here.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to throw a
Except
ward
I'm
there.
not rushing you at all. I specifically said pass, but I'm with you.
I got a Ward of Air on Mingwalk here. And now
So this allows him to do sort of fear, bow things, run home. It's all very good.
So I defend.
Okay, you get first engage.
Pass engage.
So we're gonna follow her up here. I wasn't wild about it, but knowing that he has the fear effect, and I have a commander, so I mean it's a good use. 3, 1 force follower. Okay, there are 3 of them.
Check.
I will not make 3 tokens at this time.
All right. I pass engage.
I pass as well.
So my first will be to Fear 4 Soka, and I'll occur as released.
Oh no, I'm dead. Ah.
Ah.
Well, that's disappointing. We liked Soka. Couple of options here. I think there's a high chance he's about to just run home on us. So I am going to go with reduce your force by 4 using Tamataka. I will not be running home.
Okay.
And that sets up a number of other cards for us.
So yeah, that puts
His
us
card's still on.
That puts us in the danger zone. He could have a. What could he have here? So we're still a million fours. We're still 5 fours. Are we in the danger zone? He can get us with the deliberations. He can get us with. So I could stay here and do some attrition-y stuff like range 3s, follower. But the fact of the matter is he's still, by my count, not taking the province. He's at 7, is that correct?
Yep.
So I'm just going to try to get out of here and see if he's got Earth.
No Earth.
Okay.
I do have, as a follow-up play, a coward. And we'll sort of see if you want to come back and play with me.
I do not, so I become dishonored and you can draw some cards.
I like cards. See if we get something. Well, those are both excellent cards. I do wish that, I had drawn this one a minute ago, but what can you do? So it looks like an Akage Sensei home situation? Or do I just bow and leave up a Kage Sensei. With having drawn that card, I think I just bow. We're gonna buy some guys and see where it gets me. Other battles, other things.
Nope.
I have 12 gold. And buys me my 2 Gensei. I like Soka and stays. Obvious value there with his Stones of Purity. And I might have to owe you a card here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so I do. Frontier Farmer is an easy discard. Good card, probably coming into play.
Rock on.
So that was bad for us. We lost a guy, but he lost a card. It's hard to say how bad it was for us. He's not presenting in an unstoppable monster quite yet, but we would have really liked to have gotten a province there because obviously he has gold now. He's going to start to overwhelm us.
Yeah, so we have some options here. I think we're just going to dump our hand, play this, and move in. This card lets us do that, which is nice. Hope for the best. So let's start with a Guidance in War. We're going to pay... So we definitely want Conqueror. So the question is if we pay 6 or 9 if we want just the ranged attack and the Conqueror, or if we want the forged. I think we just want the ranged attack and the Conqueror, so we're going to pay 6 for that. 3, 6.
The ranged attack Conqueror, no force bonus then is the other thing that would matter.
Yep, no force bonus. So then it's action to you.
It's looking like pass.
And we're going to, for 6, and attach another stones.
Well, hey, Big Papa.
Action to you.
Pass.
And then attach another Ward of Air as well.
Okay. So he can run home multiple times.
Then I'm going to jam out Void.
Sure.
This is the favor. Hang out over here. And I'll draw a card. And I actually have 1 floating gold, I believe. Because, yeah, I paid 6 gold for the Stones of Purity. Oh, this is free. He's water. So never mind. Here's an Impassable Waters as well.
Sends a unit home, sure.
So here's my giant throbbing blowout waiting to happen when he hits me with a victory through deference.
That's right. If only.
And then I will be declaring an attack and assigning my huge guy at Soka.
Okay. Well, saving our province is pretty straightforward because we know he doesn't have anything to get through this. We know he doesn't have a sneak attack. So, yep, we can commit our unit. So you're going at so 1 Gensei defends. He will have a fear effect to bow us, but he'd have to stay there and trade, which doesn't seem like something that he would ever possibly do. There's an argument to put this one there as well, so I can play this card. I can just move in and do it. I don't think it matters. He's gonna end up running home either way. Yep. So my 2 dudes defend.
Okay. So you got first.
So So I got a bow effect for you. I have the Crystal Tears.
Okay, and my force is certainly higher than 4.
Yep.
So I'm bowed.
And both of his range attacks are on the Shugenja, so there's no real concern about him killing our guys. So he doesn't have really much of a play other than
Run away.
run home at some point. Yeah.
which is what I do. So I'm out of here.
Uh, and then I am going to play Coward on myself. This is what I love about this card. So super fun. I dishonor my guy. I lose two, which I never marked my 2 gain from Gensei because we're lazy. And so I play Coward. I'm just going to draw 2 fake cards and hope for something good.
Poor hidden storehouse of the
Yep.
Rafik, man. So
It's
so
it.
outclassed. Okay, I pass.
Yep. I don't think there's anything else to be done. I drew a couple of good cards, so that's nice.
So yeah.
And his dynasty is a little suspect as well. It's just one ivory courtroom.
Well, we're buying
Oh,
Moto or Dare
expendable
here.
guy.
Yep,
There
expendable
you go.
guy. Who has an ability? He has
Give
an
it
ability. It
seppuku.
might be
Yeah,
able
yeah, yeah.
to save a province
Sure,
here.
sure. No, I'm with you.
I
Blows up to
like
draw a card.
the Ivory Courtroom. We can buy that on the off turn with our Temple of the Heavenly Crab. All right, you're up.
Okay, flip. It's a good card. All perfectly fine. Hey, Dark Naga. He's a big Naga. Okay, well, so we're not dead, which is good, but we definitely need to do a job here of moving in and taking some provinces. So Soka is our current plan to try to deal with Gigantor's unit. Boy, what I'd give for an uncertainty planet evidence, right? And then some gold. So it feels like Soka buy some gold as my actions for the turn. Leaves my box around. I can put a follower down. Or I can leave it and attach it to Soka. Might be a superior play. So I think what I will do is pass open. Very impressive. Good job, Paul.
So we're gonna play Hidden Machinations here because we can.
Okay. So he put it out there. Because it's a really solid card and you can start using it even as an open. The good news is that makes our, so now everything that's anything is on the board. So I pass.
So I'm gonna look at my top card here. So can I show everybody what it is? I don't know. You'll see when I draw next turn, but I'm keeping it.
Okay, I pass again.
I will buy my Ivory Courtroom here.
Sure, gain the favor. And you can re-honor your Moto Mingwak, who is dishonored.
There you go. Duly re-honored.
I pass.
I pass as well.
So, we start with just assigning Tamataka at Karasu. Karasu, a much more threatening personality. The switch ability, when he has a big unit, there's a lot of play to that. That's a good ability with a lot of flexibility. We want to try to get that off the table. So we assign just Tamataka. We can cavalry in a Gensei, or if he defends, we can move in a Gensei. So if he tries to defend to do a favor thing, we've got a Kage, we've got Gensei, we've got a number of options.
We are going to defend.
Okay.
Favorite thing seems pretty optimistic given Akage Sensei, but she does have a printed ability. It will draw us a card, and maybe same as a province. So we'll see what happens.
Right. So it's gonna force us. So we'll do that when obviously you're passing these. So it forces me to engage against which will probably end up bowing. Oh boy, this might be bad news for Paul. This might be an issue. Well, let's see what happens. So I definitely engage in.
Okay. So I pass my engage.
Yep. You get first action.
So this bows a card. I'm trying to think if there's a reason to not bow Tamitaka. Are there any cards that key off of having attachments? That feels like an older thing. So I'm just going to blow up my Garo and bow your 4/4 guy and draw a card.
Sure.
Which is the card I saw earlier, which I quite like.
And, this was a play that we knew was out there, and thankfully we do have a straighten effect. We have Way of the Mantis to straightener unopposed, straightener unopposed guy.
There you go, which is fine. you can't win them all. We just had to play the cards we had. The hope is that eventually we'll break serve with our giant conqueror guy.
And we get a Soka. And we get some more gold. And Dark Naga sits. He's very affordable for us. 14. We have pretty painlessly. And he's a unit that might actually, if I get a Frontier Farmer on him, I might be able to start getting 2 units of appreciable size. And we draw a card, and it's all you.
So I also get a Dark Naga. That's neat. My first action will be Void to draw.
Okay. We use Soak on his big unit, setting its force to 5, which is still pretty big, actually. But it makes life a little tougher for him. So unless he does something right now.
We're then going to attach the Ancestral Armor of the Unicorn here.
I mean, can't stop, won't stop. So that puts him to 7. No, it puts him to 8. He gains some honor, and I cannot move him. Okay, well. He becomes harder and harder to deal with all the time.
So, I mean, we're really all in here. Shout out to formats with no limited phase control.
Yeah. I love that a little behind the scenes. So Jesse and I, when we play a lot of L5R, and he loves the Crane, like Philippines, put all of this stuff on my one guy deck. And he specifically didn't want to play that. And then I said, yeah, well, you should probably play something other than Crane just to get a more diverse military portfolio. And so he's ended up with a Unicorn deck that puts all his stuff on one guy.
I'm not sure if this is how this deck is supposed to play out or not. And I'm sure when we look back over the video, there's plenty of places where I could have gone different ways with this game, specifically on the turn 2 when I bought Mingwalk instead of double gold, or when I flushed the 1-for-1 holding. But, these are conversations for another time. So I strap up.
Yep.
You get I looked at my top card. I assume you have a pass here.
Feels like passing to me, yeah.
So Monstroso goes at the Dark Naga.
How much gold do you have left? You don't have enough to buy your Dark Naga, correct?
Correct. I have 9 gold available.
Okay, well, so we have this card here, which would be the card that allows us to defend ourselves. I gotta mark my honor. This is starting to be a thing because I want to be able to take the favor back. So if I defend, I don't want to defend with Soka. She's only 2 force. I don't have a way to immediately eject her to a value like a ritual preparation or strategic withdrawal. And I don't want her to die. She's too important for that. But Gensei with his knowing, that's right. Knowing, I mean, looking at all the cards he has in play and knowing that he only has 1 card in hand, it's likely that this card would save our province, which would effectively just make him run home. But still, I mean, sacrificing. So the card is it worth sacrificing a fate card and a personality to save a province? And I think it is. Absolutely, I do. And so Gensei defends.
Okay. I pass my first engage. Or you have first engage, I'm sorry.
I pass engage. I have a holding cells.
Yep, so...
There's an honor.
Sort of seeing the power of these cards here. This deck does not have a good answer for that. At least not in play. I should have Ring of Airs in here somewhere.
Well, it doesn't. Holding cells is the before the battle, so it doesn't. It's not an immediate.
So you don't even get.
So you're gonna, yeah.
Yep, and that's the great thing about this card is it just kind of gets you. There's no way to deal with it. So I mean, I ranged through your guy for sure.
Yep, and then I pass.
And I won't even be saved from the bow effect if I run home. Because the delayed effect is still on the guy.
No, the data, yeah, that is correct. That is correct.
So, I mean, I will run home, but there I am, I'm bowed. And I will drop down.
Yeah, what he's referencing, and we know this, is that it says, before the battle resolves, bow him. I had presence and location to take the action, so it's been played. Its effects resolve even if he ejects himself from the battle.
We'll find our
which is
little
good for
Gencon one
me
here
because
and
it means I
flush
can
it.
maybe get in there one more time.
Flush that and draw a card. Draw 2 cards here because you have Destiny personality. And pass.
Okay, and a resilient personality, which is perhaps of note. Okay, hey, I got the Naga duo here.
Got all the Naga.
Who, who's the sidekick is the question. So, Soka can't assign. I could use Soka. I think there does exist in the format cards like sudden movement, or just straight in effect. So I will use Soka targeting Moto Mingguak.
Okay.
Try to lessen the fear there.
I think. I'm looking at this card as a cycle effect and thinking about whether or not there's a place where I really want the effect that it grants. I don't think there is, based on the 2 seconds I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the cards that Crane plays. I don't think there's a lot of keyword triggers. And there's like Cavalry, but he's about to buy his 4th personality. And honestly,
There is. So
I'm
you've
not
talked
afraid of
around
opposed
enough.
battles anyway.
We can assume. Well, I don't know. You mentioned keyword traits, which makes me think victory through differential, but it does also target abilities, right?
That's true, doesn't it? Yeah, okay, so never mind. Read your cards, Jesse. Read your cards. So I pass.
So I use my so I pass and go to attack. We're gonna go for the Dark Naga. He's a big scary guy. And again, I assigned just Tamataka. I did get out a Family Dojo, so if he doesn't defend, I can just Family Dojo to generate the force. This gives me the option. I can always Gensei in for Cav or leave back as a move and shoot. Move and shoot is probably where I'll go if he defends because it gets around the resilient trait.
Hmm. We can't cancel his stuff because our guy's not there.
You don't have the air trait, you have the water trait. As all unicorn Shugenja do, very few air.
No, I mean with the ancestral armor, we can't armor. It's not like old
Oh, sure.
reactions where you can react from anywhere.
That is correct. The interrupts are different from reactions, is the
Yeah,
way
yeah.
to say that.
So
That's a good rules point to point out. The rules of the game have become this cloud of nebulous stuff that we sort of know from asking questions, but now they've gotten to the point where they don't even answer questions, so it's very difficult to.
so we've got defend, favor. He goes shoot us in the face.
Well, I go Akage
Yeah, use the Kage
Sensei.
Sensei back in.
So you do have remove Scout from Tamataka favor, maybe, as an answer. Look at me
No, I
helping
think.
you out.
Yeah, look at you helping me out, but it's not really because I need the victory to take a province next turn by removing Soka's ability. So I think this is just a no defense. Yep, no defense.
Okay, so now it's just a question of let me look at my gold. 4, 12, 16 is Dark Naga with 2 things. 4, 12, 16, yeah, Dark Naga and Tengen, leave me 5, leave me 3. Which is about where we want to be. Yeah, so we'll just go for the family library here to take it.
Okay.
I might want to do some sort of defense with Daidojigins. I'm undecided. So for now, keep it simple. I go ahead and drop down 16. That guy's me the Naga. Did I lose 3? You have any nexuses?
I do
You do
not.
not. I have double nexus. If you ever lose honor, it may
Noted.
come up.
You can help me out with that.
Let's say.
Okay, so my first is going to be invest the victory and remove Soka's ability, drawing a card. I'll also burn the Frontier Farmer and 2 personalities from your bin. It doesn't matter who. How about the Yujiro and the Soka?
Yep. So I kept the gold up for the Frontier Farmer too, and he made that play straight away. Man, Victory Through Deference is a great card. And I play it. Jesse, you don't play VOD a lot, do you? Right? That's not a card you've found to be great.
I just haven't been playing
Uh,
military decks a lot lately. I've been
Fair
wasting a
enough.
lot of time with like total garbage.
Time well enjoyed is not time wasted. So I have a follower in hand that gets onto the Dark Naga here.
Sure, sure. So I've got a Interrupt the Void's Flow for Moto Alani here.
Okay. Interrupt the Void's Flow is a really good card. And it makes having a profitable defense sort of impossible. It forces us to rethink what a profitable defense is. It turns it into sort of just defend. Um, yeah. Okay, well, I pass.
I'm gonna avoid to draw. Well, we're gonna look at our top card first, see if we want it or not. We do not. So we'll draw the next one instead. Do I want to play this on this? So thinking about, because he has 2 ranged attack effects.
Yes, I have a range 9, which in many situations is very helpful. Here, its value is perhaps less.
So how do we play it? I think we'll play the Ward of Air on Alani here.
Okay.
So that's just to protect our Void's Flow so we can't kill that
So
guy.
that's all. You have 3 Ward of Airs. All 3 Ward of Airs are in
All
place
3 are
now.
in play. Yep, yep.
Okay.
And then both of my personalities. Well, just Moto Mingwalk will assign to attack the Shikash.
Okay, so assigning just Moto Mingwalk creates a sort of open moment of opportunity because he can't interrupt the Void's flow if Alani's not there.
Oh, he's not Cav. Whoops.
Correct. So that opens up, but we're up 4-2, and his unit is very. Now he only has 2 cards, and we have a number of things we can do. Right, we have, we have this here into this, and that might be enough. What is your total force?
4. So the 2 stones are 10 plus 3 from the armor, so 17.
So 17. Now he does have interrupt, so send home is not going to work. He doesn't move back. So 17 to my 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 17 to 15. He's got 2 ranged attacks. Of course, putting Shoka into harm's way is not where you want to be. I think it's close, but I think we can safely let this province. Like, he hasn't done anything to adjust the math of the game, right? He's taking 1 province at a time. He's pretty much locked into that strategy with his large phallic unit. So we're going to just let it go. No defense.
Okay. Pass through.
Yeah, I pass through. There's an argument about trying to defend and see if we can't get him to use a ward, but it doesn't bow. So I don't know what we could. Akage is absent battle. I guess I could go to try to use Akage to try to bluff the armor to move in Tamataka, which we actually had a good follow-up action on, but it's putting a lot of our it's extending it. Now, if I was behind, or if the game was closer and I felt that the tipping point, if I was going over the edge, if I felt losing that, then I might be forced to start making my plays there. But I'm actually still ahead in terms of provinces, and I think possibly board position. So I'm not prepared to take such a great risk to try to win right there. Okie dokie. So first things first, we use Soka on Mingguok and try to set it up for that.
Sure. I could play this fully loaded. The downside is that we would have to bow our box, and we miss that move back in effect. So if we're gonna fight a big opposed battle and he has something like incapacitated or persuasive tactics, that would not be helpful for us. And we can cancel it, and we can cancel the movement. So I think I'm actually comfortable with doing that. It's effective use of our gold. The question is, I think.
So he's agonizing over some attachments here as an
Yeah, we're
open.
putting out guidance in war. We're just agonizing if I want to diversify my threat portfolio here. The
Mm-hmm.
argument to not is that if it's on Mingwalk, I guess he can't combine his range attacks because they're all on the same card, even though they're separate
Correct.
abilities. So it goes on
Correct.
Amani. The argument for putting
And
out
it looks
more
like
on Mingwalk.
you put 10 into it,
Yeah, it's the
so
full. It's the full thing.
4, 7, 10. So I mean, you're getting everything out of it as you possibly can. That's pretty neat.
That's the idea.
And he has double conqueror now. Nice. Okay. Well, I've got this here Temple of Tengen, so let's go ahead and trigger that. Draw, we have to discard. Let's see what we cycle into or out of. Boy, that's such a neat card. I'm just trying to think. You've got 2 Ward of Air, Interrupt Void's Flow. It's going to be really hard to get it to do the thing I want it to do. So I will discard Thoughtless Sacrifice. It's very hard to get the force set up into a place where I can play it to value where I want to do that, and then also to get through a ward. And just eating through 3 wards, eating through Interrupt the Voice Void just doesn't seem like it's something that I'm going to be able to do. So I'm not even going to try. And so that gets cycled. And of course I get to play this game of dice, which is the card I drew. Now, any opens on yours there?
I'm on the pass plan over here.
Now to you. Okay, well, we're going to attack, and it's a question of 1 versus 2. So his force, we have a 3 and a 2 for 5, and then Mingwalk is 5. Is that correct? So 10 defensive, 12 with expendable guy. And so the reason to go for 2 is because the game might be like I didn't have the dynasty flip I was hoping to have, and I have province to threaten to with the family dojo. But also, if I can sort of get the Interrupt the Void's Flow off the table this turn, it might open up a good defense on my turn. I have an Akage Sensei. The question is if he double blocks one of them, what happens? So he can go shoot this follower. He can go blow up to borrow the Dark Naga. I would probably play this. What should be met by that? I don't. These cards lose value too if I spend. No, I don't. I can't do. I mean, it's always good to take a moment and think about it. People I know get sort of into this road process of these guys at 1, these guys at 1, and I was just wanting to make sure that I was giving it a full, honest evaluation. in a tournament, there's also a sort of next level gamesmanship thing where you can try to represent greater strength than what you actually have. I don't do that here. Jesse knows me too well for that, and it's not. It doesn't really work online, right? I don't want to waste my time considering things that I'm not actually going to do. But I do think that there's a variation of this game and this game state where my hand configuration allows me to go for 2 provinces, but this is not that moment. So I send my 2 units here at a province.
Sure. Now I've got to think about if I want to try an all-in defense here. The reason to do so is that it's pretty safe. Um, I have a lot of actions on board. I have 2 cards in hand, and I have a lot of cancellation. Now, the huge blowout cards that exist, the first one is Victory through Deference, which I can beat with Interrupt the Void's flow. If he has double Victory through Deference, that's tough. But we're not even sure. We haven't seen one yet, and I've had this Shugenja super unit the whole game. Aside from that, he can move a guy home, which I can negate, and then I've got a million little fear and range attacks. So I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, destroy bow this.
I count you with 3 range 3 attacks. Did I miss one?
I have 1, 2,
You have 2
3.
guidances and being block.
Yeah,
Yeah.
plus the sensei. I
Plus,
mean,
isn't that's a bow, right?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
but
bow. You're
I'm
right.
with you. Plus the blow up bow. Yep, you've got some stuff. No
So I
doubt.
guess if
No
I'm not
doubt.
willing to defend, so there's an argument to not defend just because maybe I get a better moment up the road. But the fact of the matter is, if I've got, I can eject with Impassable Waters. I can eject with double Ward of Air, triple Ward of Air. I've got Interrupt the Void's flow. Like, what do I need on board in order to make an attrition-y defense? And if it isn't this, then what is it? So I'm all in defending.
Okay,
Like, I've got the
we will do that
favor.
battle first.
So you've got
All
first.
true.
I pass engage. You got the first action.
I do as well. There's no sense putting my cavalry guy there straight away because it'll just get shot. So leave it back and in reserve. So how shall we begin the play, good sir?
So I think I have
So
to
it's
use. I don't
yes,
have to
12
use.
4 to 7 8 to my 20. Okay.
So I don't have to use Adurne first because I can cancel his Gensei's movement, and then no range attack would happen. But it locks my armor into doing that. I'd rather not have to hold it for an onboard trick. So I'm gonna blow her first and bow the Dark Naga to draw a card.
Oh, duly bound. Okay, so there's a couple of plays to be made, but the one that I like is, well, is that the one that I like? Eat through a ward of air. 479. Start reducing some force. It feels like I'm going to that early, but it is an onboard play. Okay, so I am going to go with reduce, so -4 force to Moto Alani.
All right. Now we're vulnerable to his move and shoot. I think what we're gonna do now is start chewing through his followers a little bit. So I'm gonna make a fear 3 off of one of my stones here, and I'll interrupt with Alani to destroy a follower. One of Tamitaka's.
Yep. 2. 1, 4. Okay. And so then We have our Gensei. I move in. He eats, so it's not quite where I want to be at. So what I want to do is I will go with deliberations, paying 2 gold here. So it's a range 2 attack targeting Moto Alani.
Okay, and so we
But your
definitely
or what's your force here? Actually, I got a
one
3
force.
plus 2 is your 1 force. Okay, so good. So
Yep. So that's a definite ward of air. We could also have interrupted the void's flow on that to remove him from the game, which does a good job and keep our ward of air around. But we can still eject him with impassable waters. Um, there's an argument to just do that here. We're losing one range 3 attack that we don't super need, and we lose interrupt the void's flow that we may super need. I have to choose if I want to use my armor on that move in effect.
if you don't blow the ward, you're saying. Well, I guess even if you do,
Now,
yeah.
if I don't, I can cast impassable waters to send my own defending personality home. Which I think is how I want to play this. Yep. So I'll send my Alani home.
So you blew the ward of air and sent Alani home with your impassable waters.
Correct.
Okay, so now it's play to me.
Yep.
So he has Mingguok's built-in range 3, Mingguok's guidance range 3. I'm just looking to see what else we have.
I've got a Purity Fear 3. I'll pull my. I know it's hard to see for you.
Yeah, okay, and he's got to negate movement in. So moving Gensei in here doesn't do a lot for me. I can start working my way through the ward of air, like try to work my way through another ward of air. It's dangerous. So I go. Well, I've got 6, 8 force to your less.
Yeah, I'm only at 5 because you reduced me.
I mean, if I kill the unit, that's big game, but it's also not something that's going to happen. I think I will creating order to straighten the Dark Naga.
Sure. Um, we figured he had an answer for that, but we have the favor to deal with it, so we'll favor home the Dark Naga.
And home he goes. Um, Family Dojo. So I think here I am forced to pass. Yep, I think I
Okay.
pass. I'm ahead. I don't yet want to play one of my cards. I want to force him to start using some of those range 3 attacks.
Yep, and use one we will. So we use one of the range 3 attacks on a follower.
So now we're tied 5-5. I could blow the family dojo, but I don't actually really want to because I'm fine with a tie here. Like that's still big game for me. So why burn the 2 gold if I don't have to? So I can pass again.
Now, I could eject here, and then if he has a back to the front, he would get me. If I don't eject, I can shoot his other follower off, and then. So he could be holding a back to the front in reserve, so he's waiting for me to shoot again, then move in the Naga. which maybe we can answer. Or he has a Gensei play. I'm at 5/4. There's no way he's running focus or anything, so he can't make a ranged attack. He could have Unholy Strike, but we still have double Ward of Air to prevent that. So I'm comfortable in this position. I'm going to use my last range 3 and shoot off your other follower.
Okay. So I will announce Doji Gensei.
Okay. So as active player, you have the first
Right,
opportunity to
so
interrupt.
no. So I mean, I'm not going to interrupt. No, the interrupt would be off when I make the ranged attack.
No,
Right,
no,
I'm not
you
making.
interrupt when you declare the action.
Okay,
There's no.
well, so I pass. Right, so I pass and I can wait. Right.
Well, so can I. You're
Right. No, if I pass and you pass, then my guy moves in. That's fine.
right, but you lose the opportunity to play a.
Unholy Strike.
Yeah.
Sounds right. I'm certainly not going to play it. I'm not going to go play it, get hit by the armor. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm pretty sure that's how the procedure for this works. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. So if you announce and you pass your opportunity to do all that, then I let you in.
Okay. Oh, because you have a fear 3 left. Is that what I'm missing?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I don't even know if I waste my time announcing. I think I just Akage Sensei. I announce Akage Sensei. And I guess I declare target on Tamataka.
This I will armor.
Okay.
And then I'm going to Akikazu Sensei with Okura's release to kill Tametaka.
Oh, well, bad news for me. Well, so I made a huge sequencing error in terms of how I use these cards, and I paid the price. But that's okay. Sometimes you make mistakes. So I guess I pass.
I pass as well.
So yep, I did that. I did that very poorly, and shame on me. But let's see if we can't recover from our big mistake.
You
I
still got
don't seem to
Soka
have.
Dark Naga. We're not in the best position here.
Yeah, I don't appear to have any one gold cost holdings. So I have one floating. Does that do anything? So I have 9, so that doesn't seem to matter. I don't even know if I want this marketplace or if I want to keep the gold open to reattach something if I need to. Yep, let's just keep the gold open. There's got to have been a better way to purchase things there. No, whoa! Did I
Whoa.
just put 1,000 cards on my
You did, yeah.
thing here? What's the one that puts them on top? T?
Yep.
So I will put
You just
on
pick
top.
3, yeah.
I went in what I think is the appropriate order.
They're all unknown, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I just shuffled off the JPI. So. Okay, there we go.
All right.
And that's a really good card that I wish I had had like 3 seconds ago. But what can you do?
So that was the tempo break we were looking for. I'm Double Conqueror. I mean, we're not out of the woods, but at least we're not looking as pathetic as we were a turn ago. My first is going to be to look at my top card with Machinations.
Well, so that's good. It means he doesn't have another victory through deference at right this moment, and then I'll get first action on my turn. So I get to go Soka on Mingguak.
Yep. Then I'm going to Karmic away another Hidden Machinations.
Sure.
And if you pass, I've got a Void.
Oh, yeah, I'm passing. That's fine.
Okay.
I will see if I have anything in my yard. I do not.
And now I mean, this is the ride that we bought a ticket for. So mm, so we attack. He's got the Naga and he's got the ranged 4 on Kinta plus 5 fate cards. I'm not super afraid of the fate cards because he had 4 last turn and had no play. And I still have 3 cancellation effects. So, I mean, yeah, I can't win if I just sit here, so we're going for the middle. Mingwalk
Well, I've got
and Alani.
a plan. I just don't know if I want to take it. I think I've got an all-in defense that I want to make. Gets it off the table anyway. Well, I can save the province pretty easily, so there's that. Well, pretty easily. I can save my province. It's what do I lose in attrition aspects. I was really hoping to hit a Daedoji Ujiru last turn. I feel like that was the card I really needed to get this to where I want to go.
Yeah, you would have been the ticket master on the train to Blowout City. If he's going to defend
Okay, so
with...
I'm looking at a defense with everybody open with this because, his force is low. He does have to start to, I guess I'll send the Dark Naga home is maybe what he's hoping for and negate a move back in. I can try to just plug my way through some of his actions. I mean, I can play a lot of it. Jesus. It's tough, though I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm better off offensively or defensively. So he gets an impassable waters, which is like a runaway effect. You know what? I should have 2 more fate cards for my game of dice. That changes a lot of things. I'm drawing those cards now, motherfucker.
Those are in the videos.
You're gonna have to cut that out. I dropped a shit earlier too. So I'll give us a moment to repause.
No, I don't need it. Just go.
Okay. So, well, I think for sure I defend now. I think this is like... It doesn't... So, apologies for my language. So I drew my extra 2 cards, and they're 2 good cards. They're 2 good options. But I just, boy, I'm agonizing here, but only because it's an agonizing that matters. So I go defend here. That goes away. So this plus this. He interrupts because he has to. He shoots. I shoot. So I could put these 3, which guarantees I save my province, don't lose my Dark Naga, but then I lose my Soka, which is a disaster and not something that I want to do. All right, I'm just gonna let it go. Which province?
Middle. So that's fine.
Xanthar.
everybody's a conqueror. We don't have any price to attacking. We were priced into attacking because everything's structured. Like there's no like if we're not attacking, we're certainly not defending. So I pretty much just automatic attack there. Otherwise, we're just rolling over and losing the game.
Still no Ujuru. Very disappointing. Okay, well let's 10 get or soak as my first action. That's critically important sequencing
Okay.
on Moto Minkwok. And then you do something, and then I'm gonna discard a card. I've got a Fear for Volley that I'm really unhappy with here.
I think I'm on. I'm gonna look at all my stuff real quick, read all my flavor text, get focused, and then I pass.
Well, I got an attack. I gotta keep it going. I think I can just go in with just Dark Naga. I mean, I defend with this guy. It's just a shot in the face. And then you don't have a bow effect for the Dark Naga. I could just hold back for defense and hope that my defense next turn holds up. I could lobby for the favor and do anything. I don't even know if I can lobby for the favor, actually. We've not done a good job of tracking around him at 9.
I have been, yeah, mine's accurate. I forgot to mark the one I just had.
So, yeah. Lightning on my feet. Go all, I mean, Soka's not upset. I could go in, just eat a thing. That doesn't do me any good. So I signed just the Dark Naga. What could happen? You shoot the follower, which moves 9 to your 5, 10, 13. I go that, you go away, and then one home happens. He's 4 force, right? Just you have a dead dude.
Yeah.
It's not per dead dude or anything. I just one.
Yeah, no, I have the Watu I cycled.
And then I can play some of these cards. Yep, so Dark Naga all by himself at a single province.
Okay. Defend all in.
Okay, let's do that one first.
Pass engage.
Me too.
So there's a question of how to do it if I'm just going to slam this down. Yeah, I'm just going to versatile army to bow the Dark Naga.
Okay, that's a good one. I don't know if I have a good answer for it. I have... You paid your 3 gold, right? You
Yeah,
have all
about the
cavalry,
two.
dude.
Yeah, this one here.
Okay, well, I'm going to announce Daidoji Gensei
Mm-hmm.
is action, and I will, I will not be taking an interrupt.
Which means you can shoot my naked guy. The other two are safe. Yeah, I don't care about that guy. You can pitch a card for him.
So, here's a card that I pitched for him.
Okay. Dead. I will range 3 from Alani to kill Gensei.
Yep. 3, 6. I announce Persuasive Tactics. 15 gold equal to my target. 6 gold. Targeting Dark Naga.
Sure. Let me read that one real quick.
It sends him home.
Yeah, just to send home. So what's the gimmick? If I cancel this, he can move a guy in with the sensei. I can still shoot. I cancel. I'll make you work for it.
Sudden movement, targeting Dark Naga and Kinta.
I will remove Alani from the game to negate it.
Yep. And that's it. I'm out. You lose, you take a province. I got nothing left. The battle, my attack last turn where I didn't win, take a province, spent all my cards, was a big mistake. Maybe I should have defended. I had a number of plays defensively. I played too conservatively, and I lost. I did not properly pick my spot.
So
There was some secret things too.
yeah, you mentioned some
You know,
sequencing. I'm curious what your last four are.
they're all good cards. I will show them to you now. And I had the inspired and the sudden movement. I'm pretty sure I could have taken your last battle had I done things in different orders. I should have done the sudden movement to get the guy back too. I knew what I was trying to set up, and I just didn't. I didn't do it properly. So
Didn't get there.
and, I don't play the deck now. It's a bad matchup.
It was an
I don't know if
interesting
it's a bad
game.
matchup.
I thought it was
I
a
don't know if it's,
nice. It was a nice back and
I don't know if
forth
it's a
game.
bad matchup. Yeah, no, I had a good time. I think I was supposed to work more at the. I don't know. So one of the problems of this deck and sort of just putting in an updated deck is this is really a game where I missed having access to a powerful card like Victory Through Defiance. And it sort of exposes how Kenta is maybe being pushed out of the format. But I thought it was a really good game. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not sure. Certainly, in like having now played the game once or twice, and all matchups are not going to be the same way. I definitely think that I gotta be flushing just any non-guy for Soka Ujiwaru. Like I think those are my two. Like those are the six guys in the game that get me somewhere. Gensei, who I held early, was really bad for me, and I think that that's something like that's one of those little edges. So I would see 4 more dynasty cards, and let's see what those 4 dynasty cards would be, and see if that would have mattered any. Yeah, so like getting a new Jiraiya out of Karmic Holding, so I can see what. So I was like, I think I didn't have a clear idea of how the matchup was going to progress early, so I made those mistakes. Oh man, Tamataka here would have been pretty solid too. So I made some early decisions, like envisioning the game was going to be one way, and then it was a different way, and so I didn't line up my plays correctly.
Sure.
And that's the value of playtest.
I mean, and I think you lost this game. Debatably, you should have won it. But I think regardless of that, it really shows the versatility and resiliency of this Crane deck. That you said the Genji didn't do anything, or the Gensei didn't do anything, but he saved you a province on your 4th turn when you played the terrain.
Yeah,
And
but
put cavalry around
he was
you.
there, right? He was present. So I don't think his cavalry trait. I overvalued his cavalry trait and moving shot.
Well, what I'm saying is, you said okay. You say you held him, and so it costs you 4 cards. But on the other side, he saved you a province on the 3rd turn. If it had been another guy, then I would have calved around you instead of running into that Crystal Tears, where I was bowed and had to run home. So
Yep. Okay.
there's some balance to be done there. And guys like Soka is just absolutely bonkers. Like if he had pulled an
Yes.
Ujiru at any time, I would have just lost the game on the spot.
Well, I don't know. Also debatable.
Well, in this iteration
I
of how it was played, I'm sure that
right.
there's a
No,
different version of this whole game.
and I think one thing that's interesting about these two decks against each other in this way is that matches can take different forms, right? I can say, okay, I think the game's going to play it this way and flush for Sokas and Ujirus, and then you can try to sort of go wide on me with a lot of smaller units, and that's actually a really interesting dimension to the game. I do think that my deck has a lot of things, and there's a lot of like edges for me to shave. and I don't think I did them like I don't think I played them out correctly. The inspired leadership specifically are the cards that I never did anything with them.
Right.
Even when I had Dark Naga out with the range 9, for certain there were some turns where I should have been like defend, use a leadership to try to shoot Mingguok when he was a 5 just to get through those wards, right? And then that could eventually set up a turn where I just have you at 5 force with a range 9 and really sort of dismantling things. But it never quite came out how I wanted it to. I think maybe the last attack I should have went like defend all in, open with Kinta on Alani, so you have to interrupt out. You kill a guy, copy, shoot, eat a ward. You kill a guy, and then I might have been out of guys actually. So then I have just Naga and I shoot to eat the last ward, and then I go holding cells. So you bow and we tie. So I could have wiped the board. That's not that good.
Yeah, I don't. I mean,
So I
this
guess I would have had the follower. I don't know.
to the extent that people like this format, I think the reason why they like it is because of games like this, where there was a lot of back and forth, there
Yep.
was a lot of serious tanking, there were different lines to be taken, and I hope that people in the comments point out that they would have played either my side or your side in a completely different way that has no
Yep.
bearing on how we played it and would have generated a completely different board state by turn 4.
Yep.
And I know from my side, at least, a lot of that's going to focus around that turn 2 development. Or even my early flushes. Like I flushed a Koan's robes early that a lot of people I'm sure would have held. Or I ended up discarding a tested blade to drop void, which if I had waited an extra turn to play on Mingguak would have been really helpful with a Okura's release to kill your guys with followers later on.
Yep.
So there were lots of little differences, and you could tell by my play I've only played this unicorn deck a few times that you've not played this crane deck in a little while, but it's still a really cool game. I was really happy with this one.
Yeah. And I think that's so good players win events by taking decks like these that can do a lot of different things and sort of analyzing them and making the right plays. And maybe we didn't each make the right plays here, but the decks are very good. And I think this is one of the games that I enjoyed a lot as a representation of Arc because a lot of the cooler, powerful things we were doing don't get pushed forward so much into Strict.
For sure.
Your deck more than mine, though. Your deck is, closer to Strict, but I wouldn't have my cool Dark Naga. Very sad.
I will say, as a parting shot about Victory Through Deference, that there was a lot of brouhaha about this card. And because I've been so elbows deep in brewing different control decks and different Enlightenment decks and sort of non-interactive NPE decks, I haven't had a lot of opportunity to play with this card, and it's a lot of fun. It's a cool card. It draws, it cycles, it cantrips, and it has a powerful effect that isn't game breaking. It's an effect that's just really impactful
Right.
in a way that we don't see very often. It does two very neat
So
things.
the only thing I don't love about it, I don't know if that was a card that should have been an open. I feel like it might have just been a good battle card. I like it as a battle card. Like I liked resumed hostilities. I was fine with that. And this is the sort of adjusted resumed hostilities, right? Some people think resumed hostilities is too good. I was fine with it. I'm fine with some ability. In fact, I think it depends on the quality of the ability being removed. A lot of the times a bow action is just better than removing an ability, right? Like, oh, you lost your ability. Well, my guy's still here. He still has his force. He can still bow for other things. Um, my only, the way the Shugenja interaction works, that's going away soon, so it's not something to harp on. But I think it's a legitimate critique, especially because it seems to stem from just like a design oversight. Like it was just like didn't really fully appreciate that that was a thing that was going to happen.
Agreed,
Uh,
agreed. And I mean, if you had had one at any point, it would be an enormous blowout. The way a lot of spells are templated even causes problems. Like Word of Air
yeah,
with this Shugenja Homo is not a Shugenja, too bad. Or Guidance in War, while it's attached to the Shugenja, it has the abilities. Well, it's not a Shugenja, so loses all the abilities.
Yeah, you take the way the Shugenja of air, now your Ward of Air can't trigger at all. I mean, it's very. Yeah, I mean, that's just a weird thing that happens.
Um,
I don't actually know if the templating. We'll see how the rules change, and that is something. You know, I would have been fine with Victory Through Deference. I still would have liked it as a card if it just removed abilities. They may have been overreaching with the removing of traits. I'm not sure, like, if we could read Brian Reese's mind. He won't tell us. I'm sure he might not have had a specific trait in mind. But maybe he's wanted it to remove like just cavalry or just conqueror, and the Shugenja is just one of those little like other things it can hit. I don't know. It might have
yeah,
been a setup for future design too. There might be more traits down the way.
yeah. I mean, it's they're pushing traits. Traits are expanding as a part of L5R.
Yeah,
Every edition we're seeing doing different ones, and I like that. I liked Brash. I liked
overconfident,
Overconfident.
resilient.
Yeah,
Yep.
I liked Boast. You know, and
We love Destined. I think Destined was a really cool way to add value to personalities that are otherwise vanilla.
absolutely, Destin nailed it. I think Expendable's great. Resilience one that hasn't come up much for me, but it's one that I like in principle because all of these are keywords that interact with kind of the basic rules of the game. And
Yep.
say like, well, this guy kind of breaks these rules in this little way, and I really like that. So I see why you'd want to start making cards that interact with these abilities, that sort of point out that these abilities exist, and like, hey, maybe you want to think about taking some of these away. But you're right; it might have been a bit of a design overreach. It might have been a little too clever by half, and it sort of led to
Yep.
the Shugenja problem here.
But change is part of L5R, and that's a thing we know is going to be changing, so it's not something that we have to be too concerned about. So, final thoughts? I have nothing more to say.
Yeah, good unicorn deck. Shugenja are cool. I'm glad that this isn't just another iteration of Family Dojo Unicorn. Otherwise, I am Jesse. That is Paul. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, insults, compliments, anything else you can say about us that I forgot, that's a no. Please leave them in the comments. Comment on our YouTube, like our YouTube channel, leave comments on our blog, send us emails, follow us on Twitter, do these things. Spread the word. We want to create a more positive atmosphere for L5R discussion and really in-depth strategic discussion. I think is something that's lacking. So be a part of that. Talk about the mistakes we made. Talk about the different builds of the deck that you would have made before we even shuffled up. Talk about different plays we would have made. You would have made in these situations. Like, let's have a conversation about these cards. Let's not just talk about this looks too powerful and make threads called, let's talk about this. Let's actually do it. Let's shuffle up the cards. Let's play. And if you have videos of yourself playing on Untapped, send them. We'll post them. Let's rock. Let's talk L5R. Anyway, we'll catch you next time. I'm Jesse. That's Paul. Thanks for watching.
Hang loose, everybody.